Yeah, I'm lucky enough to be here because of powerlifting, but I guess the real reasons how I've gotten here is not obviously because of the powerlifting reasons, but it's because of the things that have occurred in my life and the choices that I've made. So normally when I get to do this, I've been really fortunate enough to have these sort of conversations, both at a corporate level. I'm a business banking manager with the NAB. Do not judge me just because I work for the bank. I promise you none of these decisions were mine.
Too late.
My bad. All the money be going into Luke's account. So I've done this at a corporate level, delivering information to executives and things like that. Just information around change, information around efficiency of our businesses, efficiency and coaching for our people. So when I say our people, our employees, right? This is not something that I've been trained to do, right? I've been, for whatever reason, I continually be asked to do this. I don't understand why you all are sitting here listening to me. I don't know why Greco keeps calling me and keeps asking me these questions, but they seem to work. So, I've been fortunate enough to do this at a corporate level, fortunate enough to be able to do this along with powerlifting all around the world. Last year, I did, my goal is to continue to grow because I'm half Filipino, is to continue to grow our sport through Southeast Asia, right? I went to Manila twice last year, delivered the same sort of information, ideal, and what we're trying to do. Malaysia last year as well, traveled through Malaysia. I'm already tentatively booked Malaysia, Manila, Singapore, Vietnam, and I can never remember the other country. Brunei. Brunei. Yeah, it's in Southeast Asia. It's a Muslim country, so relax. Beautiful country. Yeah. Huh? I don't know. Brunei? It's really beautiful. It's a little bit different, right? So, what that means is whatever the nonsense that I'm saying, it's helping a lot of people, and ultimately that's my task. Okay, it's just to help others, right? So normally what happens is in a corporate setting, suit and tie, looking flash, pretend smile, blah, 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 blah. NAB is the greatest, blah, blah, blah. It's a giant wank. Powerlifting, I can relax in a t-shirt and shorts and be more colloquial. It doesn't really matter, right? But I get the message across, right? Different setting. It's a little bit more intimate right now. Normally we're used to a bigger group. So what I'm going to do is this. Instead of me standing up here and delivering information to you like a seminar, okay? I'm going to have a conversation. You're going to listen, right? Your engagement is going to be to me. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to draw you into that conversation as well. Okay? So what that means is this. I'm going to take a seat. Greco's going to take a seat with me.
I know.
So he doesn't know I was going to do this.
I don't need 2 seats.
Yeah, well, squirming.
It's like sparrows.
It really is.
How did we first meet?
Big Dog's won. You were napping out the back. Nothing's changed. That's actually the thing. He literally will nap before the biggest comps in the world. And he'll walk. I'm walking in the warm-up room, and I'm like, oh shit, there's Andre. Oh shit, there's Eric. There's Chad. There's Gawain.
The exercise physiologist in the room's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? This is not good for you.
No, this is good. I did this. I had a box
You chill as well?
last year, and I did that. Everyone else in the back room warming up pads in 2 minutes of an hour. So I napped. You didn't wake me up before 5. We're kindred spirits.
Brother, we've had one good conversation in the how long I've been here. We're boys now.
Yeah.
With that, right? It's a method for me to meditate. It's how I center myself. As you can imagine, big dogs, biggest comp on the planet, best of the best. You got Luke Paul in the room, one of the best and the best, right? Everyone is in that fucking room, right? It is fucking intense, right? I wanted to get away from that. I need to be able to center myself and get into my groove. I'll go take a nap somewhere else, under a bench somewhere. At the last Big Dogs, if you had seen out the back, there was a warm-up room. Behind the warm-up room was a car park. I was sleeping in the car park under a Ford Ranger, just trying to relax, right? But it's what gets me centered, because as soon as I get up, it's ready to go, right? This entire time that I've prepared for, it's ready to go. It's time to go, right? Everyone has their own little way of getting themselves going for a lift, getting themselves going for work, getting themselves going for whatever it is that the task is ahead of them, right? It doesn't matter. So we made a Big Dogs 1, and you probably interrupted my nap.
No, Pat.
Pat?
Pat did.
Yeah, we probably had to though.
Yeah, to wake you up.
Yeah. So we met at Big Dogs 1. I distinctly remember we met also after that in the gym when you came down with, to Melbourne with Stella, and
Next time I met you was Pro Bowl 9 with him, and you were paying out my flower shorts.
so what actually happened was he'd been sliding in my DMs, asking me questions about training stuff,
I slide into everyone's DMs on the creek.
asking about training stuff. Hey, bro, when are you gonna be at HQ next to train? I'm just gonna see if you can take a look at my lifts. That sound familiar? That sounds seedy as, oh, can you come to do my lift? Lucky enough, I was actually coming down, and I enjoy. I wouldn't say give out free advice, but I enjoy helping, because there isn't a fuck ton, a lot of good information and a real good amount of good eyes being able to sort of give the right coaching at the moment, particularly in Victoria as well. It's a little bit difficult. So that's actually how we met. And we built a relationship, we built a friendship off that, because the entire time that he was trying to deadlift, it was fucking terrible, and it was like 200 kilos, and you have a 100-kilo man that couldn't deadlift 220 at the time, right? Who had been training for a long time. Cool. So I met you then. You were I wouldn't say you were just getting into your coaching business. It was already starting to go pretty well. You were down for some extra learnings?
Down for business seminar, that's right. Back in 2017. We were working around marketing and growing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what happened as a result of that?
My business grew.
Yeah. What in particular? So what were the actions that you put in?
More around structuring my business properly.
Yeah.
Just setting my time succinctly. Like, it wasn't massive takeaways. Like, I didn't drastically change anything. They were really small, subtle changes that 10x my business. Just being more efficient with my time, scheduling my time better. Outsourcing things I didn't need to worry about.
Like what?
Accounting.
Mm-hmm. Just accounting?
That was one thing that was stressing me out, having dealt with a previously shit accountant, and then that's when I got in touch with Andrew Lang, and he sorted that out, which took stress away from me. So I was able just to focus in on what I was good at, which was coaching.
Cool. And then from, I guess, the generic question is around why lifting? Why did you get into lifting?
I got into lifting because I was skinny as fuck back in grade 9, and I was trying to make our fucking first rugby team in the years to come.
So you're a skinny 15,
Still
16. Yeah, thank you. I was waiting for you. Hang on, I was just waiting for him to acknowledge that. Right, you've put on 10 kilos since then. Good job. Now you've transitioned from that to being a coach.
Good question.
And I'm gonna preface this, right. I swear to God, if I hear some bullshit mother statement in this conversation where it's like, oh, it's because I like to help people. I want to do the right thing. No, you need to be specific.
It was coming.
I just want to be a person trying to help people.
I actually got my cert 3 and 4 to go study education.
Yeah. Okay.
So
to be a teacher.
To be a teacher, because I didn't do the OP pathway.
What sort of teacher?
PE.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, not really. So not really a teacher. Yeah. I'm so sorry if there's a PE teacher in here.
Anyone teachers here?
Yeah, PE teacher.
That was awesome. Sorry.
But he can beatbox. So
Yeah, you can beatbox, dude. You're set for life.
PE teacher / musician, yeah, / powerlifter.
So I actually got my cert 3 and 4, and I had no real inkling of being a personal trainer. It was just like a cool job that I thought of. Like, I remember my old man being like, "You never make money in that." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I went down like this safer pathway.
So Dad's Italian as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was like, oh, so I went down this like safe pathway of becoming a teacher. Went to uni. At that time, I got this job at G&C, which was a supplement company back then. Just because I used to bring my friends in there all the time. I was still training, and I'd like sell them shit. They're like, "Hey, do you want a job?" I'm like, "Yes." So I started working there.
I remember like back in the day, everyone wanted to be the cool guy that worked at G&C.
Yeah, bro. That's when it was.
You were really cool if you worked at G&C.
Yeah.
So much has changed.
Yeah. Well, considering they don't exist anymore in Australia.
Downhill.
As soon as I entered, downhill.
Yeah, downhill.
Just kidding. Started there while I was at uni, and I started just like having more fun there. Realized very quickly that uni wasn't for me. I fucking hated it. Like, I went on a teaching prac, and it was good. I was a good teacher, but I just fucking hated it. Like, it was just not fun. So I was like, fuck this. And I just got promoted at GNC to store manager. I was like, all right, cool. Did that for a little bit. Then I got promoted to Queensland State manager at the time. And I was like, oh, I'm bored. Like, I need more. So then I started PTing out of the local Good Life upstairs. Did that for a little bit. And then I just did it because I was bored, and weight training I was still doing at the time. I'd done a bit of PT, like helped out mates and shit, but I was like, this could be fun. I hated it. Being in the Good Life model was terrible. Then, about 2014, I met this dude, Pagan's best friend, Nat Hodges, and he introduced me to this thing of like powerlifting. And like, I originally thought powerlifting was fucking Olympic weightlifting. Sorry, Amy. But I was like, oh, is that the thing where you like fucking snatch over your head? And they're like, no, it's not. I'm like, oh, what's powerlifting? So he took me for a session down at the old PTC on Melton Road. I was like, this is cool. I'm putting something heavy on my back and I'm standing up with it. Like, this is fucking sick. Ended up going back in another night and deadlifted with Josh Tate. First time I met him. And I was like, oh my god, this guy's fucking huge and pulling like back then like 280. I was like, oh my god. So I was like, I'm gonna give this shit a go. And then started competing. Entered this comp which I thought was a novice push-pull. Turns out it was the Tri-Nations push-pull. I was like, okay. Did that. Had a really shit comp. Went 2 from 6. And then next year in 2015, I like started coaching out of his facility. Took my first team to a powerlifting meet. I was like, this is fucking cool.
How big was the team?
4 people.
Okay.
4 novices.
Including yourself?
No, I was just coaching. Okay. I just competed at GPC States where I first met Luke. And was shit scared of him. I was like, oh my god, he's huge.
Not much has changed.
I still hate him. No, I'm kidding. And from there, like 2015, took my first group of people to a comp, and it was fucking awesome. That was my big run of lifting. Like in 2015, I think I went from a 520 total to 665 in the year. And I was like, cool, this is sick. Now let's do it for someone else. So in 2016, I kind of stepped back. Well, no, that's a lie. 2016, I tried to be both. I tried to be a coach and lift, and try and be a lifter, and didn't separate it. Like, I was like, I can do it. GPC States, I took a team of like 10 people, maybe, and tried to lift myself. It just didn't happen. My total went backwards.
Cooked?
I was cooked. Like, by the third day when I was competing, I think I was competing with Jace, 2017. I was coaching him a little bit. No, that was 2016. I wasn't coaching you then. We were competing together though. Yeah. Who handled us? Nah, that was 2017 when I called that awesome 325. Anyways. Trying trying to remember it. Yeah, no, 2016, had other lifters, sorry, but I was competing with Jace. By that day, I was fried. Like the third day, I was like, I can't fucking do this. I walked out of day one of like coaching. It's the first big kind of comp I've kind of been at. I remember walking out with my partner at the time, walking around the corner to this bus stop and just started vomiting. Like, I was just so like worked up with adrenaline and anxiety. I just started vomiting. I was like, fuck. Went back the next day, coached, and then come the Sunday, I was like, I've got this. I've got this. I didn't have it at all. Nowhere near. Just went backwards.
Yeah.
My total went down like 20 kilos. I was like, what did I do? Fuck. Pushed through. Got an invite to GPC Nationals that year on the Gold Coast. Somehow, last minute. Same thing. Coached all weekend. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I fucking gassed up hard. And I was like, I have a short prep. I'm going to get this. Went backwards again. Did my back really bad. So I think it was, I twisted my pelvis one way and my L5 joint the other way in a squat. And in that prep, I'd pulled 280. And I was like, I'm on here. I'm going to pull 292. Like, that was the goal. We were at the back in the warm-up. And all of a sudden, I can't pull 220 off the ground. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, squatted reasonably well. Benched a PR. I'm like, I'm good. Couldn't move 220. Last minute changed to sumo. Never pulled sumo. Pulled 265.
Why do people do that?
Hey, I pulled 265 sumo off the bat. Like,
Do you
pretty
know
good.
how many times I fucking speak to people and they'll be like, oh, I don't know how my training's going. I normally pull conventional. I'm 4 weeks out. I might go sumo.
Oh, bro. I realized how...
Why?
I don't know. People do stupid things.
How?
I coach him.
Yeah, but he's also... Park that. He's a beast. And he's been doing this for like 20 years.
Yeah, but he does weird stuff. He's like, oh, I'm going to change this 3 weeks out. Oh, for fuck's sake.
I haven't done that recently.
No, for like the last year.
Hey,
But
and he's gone
anyway.
1,000 in the past couple of years, so...
Anyways, I digress. Yeah, so come off the back of that, I was like, I had to rehab.
Yeah.
And I was in a shit way with where I was at. Like, that's when myself and my relationship with Nat Hodges really started to break down. My business wasn't growing. I had these lifters, but I wasn't doing anything with my business. I was making $300 a week. I was relying on my partner at the time to pay rent, pay for most of the things, just because I was in this fucked headspace.
Fuck, yeah.
With, like, I fucking hated the guy. That's on camera, but fuck you, like, you're a piece of shit. Like, and then it comes out later, and I was fucking right. Just still triggers me.
Salty.
Oh, bro. Anyways.
Tell us what you really think.
Yeah.
Fagan, what do you really think?
No, we're not.
Johnny, what do you really think? You're better, man. Anyway, so I'm in this fucked headspace. I can't train at the capacity I want. It's like, fuck. Kind of hit this point of like, I got to switch. Like, something's got to give. It's either going to be my lifting.
You got to make a decision.
I got to make a decision. And at that point there, I made a decision to go, I'm going to coach.
Yeah.
Couldn't lift. So I was like, well, I'm going to coach. And that's when coaching really took off. Like, I think 2016 Spring Cup had like a team of 12. That was just, in a space of 2 weeks, I turned my whole business around. I went from going like $300 a week. And literally, I remember checking because I looked at Xero accounting software.
Hey.
And I was like, $300 a week, and the next week it was $2,100. Like, I just made that decision. I was like, cool, I'm going to coach. And I, big believer in what you put out, you get return type thing. So, it was answered with abundance and came in, and I just was like, all right, let's go. And I just marketed coaching. And I just went full steam into it. From there, Nat Hodges exited that business, which me and the other coaches was left with all these like members that were like that needed coaching, and that's where I first met Johnny. Or started coaching Johnny. Yeah. Never look back, bro. Sandwich, dude. So from there, it was like push-pull that year. We had about a team of fucking 20. Like, it was insane. And it was the first hit of like, this is sick. Like a bit of reward to me to see all these people fucking kill it and crush it. And then from there, man, coaching was like, I'm a coach now.
Cool.
I don't know if that answered your question whatsoever. I just realized I spoke for ages. Cool.
Just need to let it out.
Yeah, I did. Thanks, guys. It's like a group therapy session. But no, it was good. Like that, what got me into coaching was just the fact of seeing other people crush it, and there was what it gave me. Like, it gave me purpose in my life. Like, I was going through a lot of shit all through that time. And when I made the decision to stop thinking about myself as a lifter and then go ham into coaching, it changed my perception of the way I did things. Like, everything wasn't now about me, which, don't get me wrong, Jace could probably tell you, can be at very much detriment to myself. Because I will forget to fucking
Look after you.
look after me. Like,
Sure.
when we went and got food, you were like, you got to eat too. And I was like, oh, fuck, yeah, I do too. Like, that's just how my brain works. I'm like, oh, yeah, I need food.
I need sleep.
I need sleep.
Yeah.
Which we've had many conversations
Sure.
about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so from 2017 onwards, it was just... And then, I don't know what happened in 2017. I was like, I'm going to try this lifting thing again while coaching full-time. Nope. Nope again. My total went up 2.5 kilos.
I'd be happy if... No, I wouldn't be happy. But 2.5 kilos is all right. You can take a... I'm trying to grab for straws here.
I know you are, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I was like... And everyone said that. Like, everyone was coming up to me like, oh, man, like, you did good. You know, you got back. And I'm like, that's shit.
Hang on. If my total was 1142 and I got 1145, it makes me the best ever. I'd be happy with a 2.5 kilo increase.
Dan Bell just did that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that.
That's also at that level.
That's semantics.
But
that's like not even 0.25%.
Yes, improvement.
man, he's trying to build me up
I'm
here.
trying to help the
Bro.
brother here now.
That's what I deal with on the daily. But yeah, so like, I was like, cool. Again, that kind of just would have validated the fact that I'm like, coaching gives me more than lifting. Coaching for me is a way that I can get my message across.
Yep.
Coaching for me allows me to help others. Don't bash me. But it gives me purpose.
Yeah.
It gets me out of bed of a morning.
Yeah. The last part is the most important part because everyone can't really articulate the last half of the sentence. It helps me. It enables me to help people in order for me to have a purpose and have a task.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting the amount of conversations that I've had and trying to understand why people get into lifting, because when you think about it, like, we're beating the shit out of ourselves.
Oh, it's fucked.
It's fucking
I woke up
retarded.
this morning like, why the fuck do we do this?
Right.
I'm so sore.
Yeah, every day I'm sore. Every day. You're sore every day, Luke?
Yeah, but you'd be sore anyway if you didn't do it.
I'd probably
You'd be aching.
I might be happier. I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't have a fucked up shoulder and I don't know, whatever else is going to be wrong with me that I haven't sort of identified yet. Yeah, I had a hernia. I just forgot about that. I told my tricep, we were just having a conversation about it. But like, it's always interesting because people, the stories that people tell and the stories that we get told just like that, you know, the reality is he started lifting for validation, really. Validating himself by making a team. For myself in particular, I started lifting because I was a child, I was 6 years old, trying to mimic my father. My father would be in our front room lifting dumbbells, doing bicep curls, and I'm so sick and competitive that I would pick up the lighter dumbbells and try to do more reps than him. How many did you do, Dad? Cool. I'm going to do 101. How many are we doing tonight? 100? Cool. I'm doing 102. I'm going to beat you every day, right? That's how I started. That's retarded. That's 6 years old, right? And then from there, the competitiveness around there has got me into the position that I'm in, right? So that validation, what lit the fire is what's put me in the position that I'm in, that I get to travel, that I get to compete with guys like Luke and things like that as well. So where that went from for me was, I don't know if you guys have LaSalle or De La Salle up in Queensland as a college.
What is it?
High school, boys' school.
Yeah, what'd you call it?
De La Salle.
Nope.
That doesn't sound like anything? De La Salle? No? So I went to
Good on Susie.
Thanks, Susie. So I went to a private Catholic schoolboys schmuck school growing up, where it was like there was a weightlifting program, football program. You know, 40% of the boys who played in the football program went into the AFL. We competed against St. Bede's. You know, it was a toppy fucking school, and it's not me, really, in a nutshell. So, you know, how I actually had got into Olympic lifting, weightlifting, from being at college, right? I was actually, because myself by nature, and Luke's going to laugh at me, and Brandon's going to laugh at me too. Me by nature, like my mum is Filipino, so she's a midget Asian angry lady, right? Me by nature is super, 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 super shy. Yet now we're in a position that I can have a conversation with you all in front of however many people, in front of corporate, TV, blah, 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 right? So I was 11 years old at college and just so happened to stumble in to the weight room that we had at college, and then I ended up just trying to fuck around with the weights, just want to be big. As a kid, massive Hulk Hogan fan, right? That was a way for me to sort of like extend myself and be like, oh, this is really cool, I can be that, right? Hulk Hogan, weird mentor, weird depiction. And I was just messing around the weights, absolutely no idea. And what ended up happening was, I remember I was picking up, I think it was probably just 30 kilos on an Olympic bar. And I was just, this business, absolutely no idea. And what had to happen at lunchtime, because obviously I had to sneak in there at lunchtime, there was a PE teacher. Hey, you're going to change someone's life. The PE teacher was this dude. He was like 95 kilos, jacked, shredded, bald head, beard, right? And he came up to me for like full tracksuit, came up to me full Adidas tracksuit, came up to me and he's like really aggressive. So me, super shy, him really staunch and aggressive. What the fuck are you doing here? In a Catholic schoolboys college. What the fuck are you doing here? And I shat myself. Fuck. Physically, if I could have, obviously metaphorically, I shot myself. That would have been extremely uncomfortable. Shat myself, didn't say, I was too afraid to speak. So then he prompted me again, what the fuck are you doing here? And I was like, lifting weights? Right? Lifting weights? And he just kind of, when like sometimes you meet people when they scan you, he just kind of scanned me. And it was like, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, still too afraid to speak. And he said to me, listen, very aggressively, very sternly, you need to be here at this place at this time. My immediate reaction is that, oh fuck, I've got detention. Right? I was a good school kid. I never had fucking detention in my life. I was afraid of people bigger than me. There was a lot of people bigger than me. I didn't hit puberty till really late. So everyone's bigger than me, right? So then what's the first thing that I do, right? Mind you, angry midget Asian mum. What's the first thing that I do? I've got to tell my parents I got detention. First thing I do is call dad, right? Dad, don't tell mum I've got detention. You need to come pick me up. You need to come take me to this joint. Don't tell mum. My dad, Australian, ex-serviceman, served in the Air Force, was a corporal in the Air Force for many years. So Australian, very stern, very kind of be able to relate, very like growly voice, right? Like a proper, right? Love you, son. You're a good kid. Okay. I think so I picked up the phone, Dad, I've got fucking detention. I'm so sorry. You fucking idiot. I can't fucking believe you got detention. What the fuck do I have to do? You kind of have to, sorry, Dad, I'm really sorry. You kind of have to take me to this place. Oh, for fuck's sake, Gawain. So he ended up picking me up. I go, oh, Dad, you got to bring a change of clothes as well. Oh, where the fuck is there all that shit? That sort of stuff, right? Comes and picks me up. Takes me to a place that was probably about 45 minutes from school. Small joint at the back of Hawthorn Football Club. It was literally the size of this, right? But it had like six car spots, 7 car spots, right? Walked in, went to the shed out the back, which was a change room. changed, walked into the main part with my old man, and I just distinctly remember the entire thing opening up, and it was just laid out with Olympic lifting platforms, right? There was a good 12, 14 Olympic lifting platforms. There was probably 20, 30 lifters there, right? There was one bloke in the middle, so it was a horseshoe around, and then there was a couple lifters and a change room, like a physio room in the corner. I walked in, obviously still extremely afraid, was waved down by the PE teacher who was there in a tank top, so even more intimidated now, shorts, right? Waves me down, comes over. Oh, good, you turned up. Good. I want to introduce you to someone. Introduced me to this bloke who's legitimately 5'1". You're here now for the next 6 months. He belongs to you. And then walked away. This little bloke introduced himself. He said, hey, I'm Sevi Marinarov. I'm your coach. I want you to introduce you to someone. Hi, I'm Martin Leach, who is 6'3", big tall bloke. I'm Sevi's coach. I am the head of the Olympic weightlifting team. Little did I know that PE teacher that pulled me up, made me shit my dacks, right, was a Commonwealth Games silver medalist. Little did I know my new coach, 5'1", he had to have been 65 kilos, 60 kilos, was an Olympic gold medalist for Bulgaria, who had snuck into the country in order to find a better life. Right? I was now training and had free training with the Olympic level weightlifters for our Olympic team. Right? For the next 2-3 years, that's all I did. I played every sport, but I was also Olympic lifting 4 days a week. And it's funny as powerlifters now that we the concept of training frequency and volume and things like that, we're just like, oh fuck, 5 sets of 10, 5 sets of 12. Man, 5 sets of 12 squats. I'm not doing that. Fuck that. That's a lot of fucking frequency, man. We were doing that every day. Front squat, back squat, half, like power snatch, power clean, full snatch, everything. 5 sets of 12, 4 days a week, right? And it got to a point where I was winning small championships, and my coach wanted me to do, as a 12-year-old, my coach wanted me to lift 2 days. So now, instead of 4 days a week, it was 8 days a week, which was going to turn into 10 days a week, 10 sessions a week, right? As a 12-year-old, it's not going to happen, right? I wanted to play video games. I wanted to play football. I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to play everything. I wanted to be a child. So that's basically how I started, right? People always make commentary around like, oh, you know, the way you lift, blah, blah, blah. That's where I've come from, right? And that's obviously spawned into a lot of other things, right? Football in America, which we'll get to in a sec, right? So I guess, like, I didn't have like a coaching. I ran a PT business for 5 years, which was boring as hell because normal people's shit is boring, right? But the things that, as I look back, there are a lot of things that sort of really worried me about running that business, right? I guess the question that I'm always concerned about is the things that made you go, well, let's start with this. Can you tell me 3 things as a coach, right, that makes you proud?
Luke hitting the ton. That was fucking insane. And Pagan finally hitting a fucking 300 kilo deadlift after missing it for 4 years straight.
You missed 300 for 4 years in a row.
9 times I missed it.
He hit 320 last comp, so.
It's on the way up. We worked it out why. I was like...
Was it because of his terrible coaching?
a little bit. Because I'm like, I'd always set these hinge things, and then like one day, just like last year, no, the year before, I'm like, he's like, is this how I do a good morning? And it's just gone. I'm like, that's a squat. He's like, nah, watch, I'm doing it. I'm like, you're not. Do this, Peyton, hinge. I was like, hinge. He goes, keep your legs straight and do this. And then next week, he's like, oh, I feel that in my hamstrings. I'm like...
So that went on for 4 years.
Like 3-4 years. I'm like, I feel like the shittest coach in the world. Deservedly, don't get me wrong. But then all he did, like, we started with the bar, just doing these. I'm like, just do that 8 times. Next minute, pull 300 with ease. I just didn't think someone could be that retarded to know the difference between a squat and a hinge. Love you, dude. Yeah. See? Hamstrings. Back to this morning. Hamstrings. So they're 3 really proud coaching moments. I mean, I got plenty.
There'll be plenty, but the things that come out to you straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, the beauty about that is that it returns back, it follows back to your task, the reason why you wanted to do this. Right. I was talking about this earlier, and I already told half this story to you because of the conversation that we were having over lunch, so kind of ruined it now.
Not for them.
Not for them, if they're interested. So my coaching history was from obviously being a PT and wanting to be Mr. Olympia, but from there, what got me into, like, yeah, trust me, that was a dumb idea. What got me from there was actually powerlifting, right, which actually got me to being a coach, right, and taking it more seriously. This was back when powerlifting was very different, Johnny. Very, very different, Ricky. It wasn't as popular. We were perceived as real sort of outcasts and banditos, and we were all bad, and this sort of thing. But the reality is that powerlifting got me noticed. So my first nationals was up at. Were you training at Billy's gym? No. Yeah. Yeah. So that's when I met Johnny. That's when I first met you. It was 2009. 2009 nationals was the first nationals I ever won, right? As a junior. So the junior nationals, I won that at up in Canberra, right? And then from there, 2010 nationals, which was in Victoria, I won, right? And I'd won the very first Pro Raw as well. Yeah. So what had actually happened was, as this links into to coaching, and it will open your eyes around the doors that this opens for you, is that because of the successes that I had in powerlifting, and as small as it was back then, because it is nowhere near comparatively now to where it was back then, it got me noticed overseas, right? Winning 2010 nationals and winning Pro Raw and those small comps. Well, that was a big comp back then, but got me noticed in the US in particular, right? So somehow information had gotten back to some players who were obviously NFL players who were really interested in strength, as you could imagine, right? And speed and power and things like that. That information had gotten back to them. That information got to agents. That information then went from agents to teams, from teams to scouts, from scouts to the media, right? So within the span of probably 2 to 3 months, I was getting emails and messages from newspapers from the US and emails from NFL scouts whether or not I'd consider to play in the NFL from fucking powerlifting. That's a weird sort of transition across, right? But because I was a big guy, but because I could squat big weights, because I could move the bar very, very quickly, it put me in a position to be able to maybe have that opportunity, right? So how that period of time worked out was after some low levels of harassment of considering to do this, I was getting emails and phone calls and messages from the Cleveland Browns. I was getting messages from the Lions. I was getting messages from a couple of scouts for those NFL teams. And then from there, I was just like, kind of like yourself, like just made the decision. I'm going to have a crack. This is ridiculous, but I believe that I'm athletic enough and sick enough to be able to transition from powerlifting, a one-dimensional sport, into a sport which is just ridiculous, right? And what ended up happening was I'd worked out for the Lions. I didn't make the team, but I refused to have given up, right? I lived in Detroit all up for nearly 2 years. And if you know anything about Detroit, it is a rough place, right? There are parts, there's literally streets of Detroit where you're safe to walk the streets. And there's there's places in Detroit where if you're white, if you're not black, don't get out of the car. lock the car, keep the windows up, because you will get shot. Don't get out, ever. Don't even make eye contact, right? It's fucking crazy, right? After I didn't make after I didn't make an NFL team early, and I'd made the decision to stay, I needed to support myself, right? Because like you, I had a small stream of income, but it wasn't enough to support me, right? And what I had over everyone else was that experience as an elite level powerlifter, right? And not just a competitor, but an understanding of how to execute our lifts and how to train people, right? And how I survived, because it literally got to a point where within a day, 2 day span, if I didn't make a decision to stay and take this job, that I'd be living in the street. And I really didn't want to live in the street in Detroit. It was scary enough. But I had to do something in order to survive. We were getting to a point where I knew I had a workout with the Indianapolis Colts, right? But I didn't have the money to be able to buy food. So I was literally at the D1 that I was coaching at. They had a sponsorship with, I can't remember, it was a sports nutrition company where they give out free protein. That's what I was living on. In order to make an NFL team, that's what I was living on, and then probably like $5 to $6, and I'd buy a sub, and that was pretty much all I could afford at the time. But although I didn't make an NFL team and make a stack of fucking cash, what I took from that experience for that 2 years was something that I could never pay for, right? That experience was coaching these young people from about 5 years old to professional athletes, right? I was coaching 200 to 250 athletes a week, how to lift weights. And all these kids, so to give you some grasp around this, these facilities, right, it's not like, you know, you pay for coaching now, it's 60, 80, whatever, $80 a week in coaching, right? How much do you charge for coaching? About that, $90, right? This was $12 grand a month, US, 6 years ago, right? It's a lot of money. So the staff that they had to be fucking legit, right? From 5 years old to professional athletes, that's what they were paying, right? There'd be circumstances where we'd have particularly African American children who obviously couldn't afford, but showed the heart and showed the want and the potential to move into a college scholarship or a professional career, where you'd make allowances for that, right? But predominantly speaking, this is $12,000 USD per month to train at this facility, right? It's a lot of money. But at the time, we had elite coaches. So we had the Red Wings training with us. We had the Detroit Tigers training with us. We had a heap of the Lions that were training with us as well. So getting them through their camps, right? Getting them ready for their camps or their off season was our job. My job was to make them fucking strong, right? To teach their coaches how to execute the lifts and what to look for in different periods of their periodization and their timing of their season, in order for them to continue down the track, right? To be able to take that into their sport, right? The reality is this though. The children that we're talking about, and I relate this to yourselves, not because you're kids, but because a lot of you are fairly new, right? Is the validation, the experience, your drivers as to why to do the things that you do every day. As an example, I remember distinctly, I had one class of kids, which was about 15 kids, and they were high school kids, and they were kids who already had scholarships. So they're 16 years old with a full ride scholarship to a $50,000 per annum school, right? Who weren't going there for another 3 to 4 years. So essentially their lives are set. So they could take a step back. They could be relaxed. You know, they could take it easy. But it was my job as their coach, not just their strength coach, but as someone that they could lean on in order to guide them to get them from point A to point B, right? Because the reality is, particularly the African American kids and particularly the Mexican kids, right? If you did not have a scholarship, you had one of two choices. You either joined a fucking gang and you were dead. If you're a female, you either joined a fucking gang, become a prostitute, and then you're dead. That's the choices you had. Yet here, we sit back and we're complacent about, oh, I don't have the latest whatever the fuck it is. Things are too hard. Well, what if a 6-year-old kid doesn't have a choice? So it's my job to be able to teach this kid to demand more of himself. Not just in the gym, but obviously academically. For me, personally, spiritually, right? So then they can pass it on to the next person. Because professional sports, it comes and goes, right? You might blow a knee and that could be it. Your timeline is very, very short, right? One time in particular, there's one kid, best linebacker. I can never remember if it was in the Midwest or the US, right? So this kid was legit freak athlete. 16 years old, 95 kilos, sub 10% body fat. That's fucking big. That's big for a man. But a 16-year-old kid, African-American kid, just in case you were wondering, right? I remember it was the summer. So the facility was a gigantic facility. We had a weight room. We had a therapy or area, and we had an indoor field. So we had an entire full-size football field that was indoors, right? Plus 4 tennis courts, plus a recovery bay, plus all this other fancy stuff, right? So the distance between me coaching these kids to the entrance to the door was probably a good kick of the footy, right? 50 meters. And he walked in the summer, backpack, shorts, Big Mac. 95 kilos, sub 10% body fat. Nonchalantly walking into my fucking weight room with no shirt and there's women around, backpack, Big Mac. I screamed at him from one side of the gym 50 meters away, and in retrospect I regret this, right? But I got my message across. That's what's helping me through this. I screamed at him in front of everyone and screamed and said, "Get the fuck over here right now." Came over, 12 of us, stopped the workout. So already that's disrespect to the people that's already working out. How fucking dare you walk into my weight room with no shirt, there's women in here, there's women getting treatment, eating a fucking Big Mac. Who the fuck do you think you are? You know what he said to me? Coach G, it was on the dollar menu. That's all I could afford. This is all I've eaten today. Things are a little different over there, Coach, right? We take things for granted. That kid's at Michigan now. In his 3rd year, he's going to play pro next year, right? But what we did in those times was instill a behavior that he could lean on every day and remember every day to demand more of himself in order to get from point A to point B quicker. He had no choice. The kids there had no choice, apart from the wealthy ones, right? A lot of those kids now, they're playing pro sports. They're in positions at a higher level than I am from a coaching perspective, and have the ability to express that information to other people, to help others demand more of themselves in order to change the planet, right? To change this apprehensive, this lazy culture that we were talking about before. What was the word that I used? I can't even remember the word. Privileged was the word. I'm so smart. This privileged culture. It does not matter, right? Remember when I started squatting, when I started powerlifting, I started at the bottom too. When these guys started squatting, when these guys started running, they started at the bottom too. But your mentality needs to change. right? If this is something that you're dead set on, you need to make that decision. And it does not matter whether it's powerlifting, it does not matter whether it is business, it does not matter if it was your education, you need to make a fucking decision. So from a coaching perspective, right, that's the biggest thing that I took away from that. Not the experience of playing with NFL teams, greatest period of time of my life, being a pro athlete, you know, getting treated like a pro athlete, doing nothing but train 3 times a day, coach people, and that sort of thing. It's the best life ever. But I came away from that with the knowledge and understanding of what my purpose was, right? What scares me though is different. So from yourself as a coach, right? Tell me about things that you worry about, that scares you.
Not being enough for them.
Okay.
Not having the right knowledge, not being able to get them where they want to go. Letting them down scares me the most.
Anything else?
Outside of coaching?
Outside of coaching?
Shorts are pretty tight. Calling plenty.
I feel like they're getting shorter and shorter and shorter.
They are when you.
I made fun of him like 6 years. How many years ago? 3-4 years ago. They're getting shorter and shorter. I don't understand this.
DT's Pro or 12. Being left scares me.
Really?
Yeah.
Like someone going and getting coached by someone else?
No, no, fuck no. Not that. Like I think we're talking about personally now.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, personally, being left.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to leave first.
Sure.
Run away from it. Hence my relationship history.
Yeah.
Spiders scare me.
Scare everyone.
Fucking hate spiders. But the main thing is, what I said before, it's not being enough. Not reaching where I know I could be.
Yeah.
That fear of failing, that like petrifies me. Almost to the point as much as letting these guys down.
So if we park that, right, because we can all relate to that somehow, no matter how good we are at what we do, whatever sex, however good looking, whatever the fuck, we all relate to that. Right? We all at some level don't think that we're enough for another person or for what we do, blah, 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 blah. I squatted 1,000 pounds, it's never going to be enough. I want to squat 505. Right? It's not going to be enough. But to understand how to use that psychology in order to make the plans to be able to get there, right, is a different story. And is what will enable you to be able to get there quicker and healthier too, right? So the question that I asked for yourself, acknowledging and understanding those fears, right? What are the things that you know that you can do day to day in order to get there? In order to avoid or overcome those issues. Yeah. So if we start with the situation with not being enough for your guys and girls.
Yeah. For me, it's a battle of constantly educating myself, knowing more about myself, just knowing more. For me,
from a knowledge perspective.
Knowledge, and then I guess a bit more of like a psychology.
Sure.
I'm really big on reading about the human psychology, understanding how people work, because I think that's the edge. Like, not anyone can coach. Like,
everyone does coach.
Everyone does coach. Like, fuck, you're a coach to some degree, but you may not be a quality coach.
Yeah.
But you can coach. You can find coaching anywhere else. You know, programming, it can be just sets and reps, and you'll get a result.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the conversation that drives me to engage these guys. It's the conversation that they need at the time that they need it that's going to keep them. So I need to be prepped and ready for that. Mm-hmm. I need to be one step ahead. I need to be, cool, how can I better myself to better these guys?
Yeah.
So that comes in the form of reading. That comes in the forms of meditation, learning about myself. That comes from, I've spent fucking 18 months in therapy just to get over my anxiety and shit, just so I can be better for this, because it was holding me back. It comes in many ways, shapes. But the main thing for me is knowledge. Like, if I know more, I can do more.
Yeah.
Because I don't learn something and don't apply it. I need to learn it, understand it, and the way I understand it is by doing it.
Yeah.
Simple thing, have a conversation with someone.
Yeah. So you're trying to teach yourself and the things that you're doing day to day are a means to be able to communicate better to your people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fair to say.
100%.
Cool. That's good. So, with that in mind, obviously we understand where we're wanting to go, and obviously as people as well, you know, we all have our own careers, we all have our own families, we all have our own goals, right? Acknowledging what you need to do, whereabouts do you see your business in, say, 3 years' time?
In 3 years' time, I'd like to have my own facility. Have it like as a center point of, in Brisbane, like this is epic. Like this is the place you go to for powerlifting training, but just to be a better fucking version of yourself. To have it more global. Like I want to send my message, send my mission, like grow that, spread it around as far as I can. I want to have a fucking dope online system, which we spoke about last night.
Mm-hmm.
But I want a central hub where, like, yeah, I'm doing all this shit all over the world, but people can come to and be like, this is the spot.
Cool. Cool. Is it going to take you just being able to communicate better to get there?
Fuck no. Mm-hmm. It's going to take me a lot more. Mm-hmm. It's going to take me firstly asking for help. Getting help from people who know more than me about stuff that I should. Going back to that, like, you know, going deep in your craft type thing. Like, I'm a good coach. I'm a great coach. But there's a lot of shit I don't know how to do.
Yeah.
And it will be detrimental to this, which is what got me to where I am. If I was to take away from this and then try and put my focus over here, like, that's just fucking dumb. So I can, like, branch out to someone, reach out to someone, you know, and go, I need help here because I need to be here.
Yeah. I get you. I get you. Can we try to maybe guess why then I've got him to sit here and I've almost interrogated him?
We get a better understanding of our coach.
Yeah.
Oh, good one.
What you don't realise, or you probably don't fully acknowledge, right, is their personal successes, predominantly with this sport, is a derivative of your ability to excel. Right?
We have this conversation, me and Kane, all the time.
Right?
Yes.
If they fail, you fail.
Yeah.
If you fail, they fail. Right? If they fail on the platform, what's gone wrong? Right? Sure. Maybe we didn't manage this right. We didn't do X, Y, and Z. Right? Their success is a derivative of your ability to acknowledge the things that we've just talked about, put them into practice, communicate better, day by day, make a decision in order for you to get to that 3-year goal. Where that transcends is that if you are able to communicate in that way, and if you are able to excel in that way, they will be able to reach their goals. And like I said at the beginning, pass on any information down to other people. You have 30 people, 20, 30 people in the room. I can't count. I work in a bank. I'm Asian. Don't judge me.
At least 30.
Right? Think of the amount of people that they touch. Don't make that. Don't make that.
Everyone's head went there.
Yeah. Right?
It wasn't just me. You saw the smile. I'm like, don't laugh, dickhead.
Yeah. Think about the amount of people that they touch, both from a potentially a coaching perspective, right?
Yeah.
But from a family perspective, because that's number one, right? Their work perspective, and then engaging around people in day to day. If you can aid these people, and the people to come, to want to be, to understand, and how to make those day-to-day steps in order to want to be better people, the business will flourish, and you will flourish with them, and vice versa. Does it make sense?
It makes 100% sense.
Yeah? Do you have any feedback for that?
Really? I don't think so. Like, I've always kind of, I don't have like specific coaching philosophies. But the one thing I do strive to communicate across is that better people make better lifters, but better lifters make better people. So it's not just sets and reps to me. Everything we do has a purpose. Everything we do translates outside. That's my feedback. It's not real feedback.
It's feedback. So then I guess you communicating better to your people, is there a way that you're planning to quantify that?
To communicate better.
Yeah, but how do you manage going, okay, Polly wants to squat 450, how do you manage that across 100 people then? Do they write it down? Do you have a leaderboard, or how does that work?
What do you mean, sorry?
Like goals for the
year.
for your people.
How I communicate it to them?
Yeah, and vice versa, because it's their vision, it's their goal.
Conversation.
Just conversation?
Just conversation. We write it down somewhere.
Where would you write it down?
For me, I keep it in my book, my journal.
Okay. Is that front of mind for them though?
Not for them. I think I trust them to have it in their forefront, but that could be a way of getting better, having it somewhere where they can plant it every day, see that.
Yeah. Consider it. I would actually challenge you to do it. To bring it to the forefront every time that they come in, every time that you come in, because you're accountable for that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. You are what drives these people. I don't want you to forget that. Cool? Cool. Thanks.
Nice.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone.
Well, did not expect that.